Oh, I didn't send out notifications. Well, let's do that now. Good morning, everybody. Oh boy. Well, let's get to the video. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Mm, channel. I have to get to it. That's what I have to do. How come? Oh, I didn't pick the. Oh my gosh. And do a few things. I have to do a couple things. The picture. I did the picture. It's just like I did not put the picture on. No, no, no. Oh my gosh. This can't be like. I can't scroll in. Oh well, that's okay. Ah, there you go. And done. See the photos. Go to YouTube. No, I did not watch the video yet. Hold on. I'll get to you guys. Just like that. Okay. No, it's not gonna show the same, is it? Oh well. We will try. Hmm? No, it's not. How about this? Oh boy, this is not gonna be good. It's not. I'll try my best to show just I don't know if that will do, but we'll see. Hmm. Um, it's even smaller. Oh, edit, edit, revert. Here, that should be good. Because I almost had it. I went smaller. Oh, yeah. How about now? Let's try again. It was like I'm making it bigger and bigger, but it was getting smaller and smaller. The window for it. Yeah. Okay then. Oh. Fine, we'll do it like that, I guess. Ivy, it's okay. You're alright. See? Oh. No. Oh well. I don't know what that's about. Oh, I got it, I got it. Well, mostly all of it. You know. See, that's all you're gonna be able to see out of the. Uh, I don't know if that will. I think I have an idea. Edit. Revert. It's gonna have to do. Alright, guys, I am sorry for the problems. I have a technical difficulty. It's going to start now. Okay. Okay. Push this back a little bit. It starts now. Our Father in heaven, may your name be kept holy. May your kingdom come soon. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today the food we need, and forgive us our sins, as we have forgiven those who sin against us. And don't let us yield to temptation, but rescue us from the evil one. Jehovah, Jehovah, thank you for another beautiful day on your beautiful earth, and thank you for allowing us to wake up today. And thank you for what you did for us in the present, in the past, and in the future. Please help the fallen people who need your help. Can you help all the people in the world that feels like they'll mount to nothing? Help get on the right track in life. Like they feel lost. Can you let them feel found? And please help Tate, who has a heart condition and cancer. And please help Cindy Lee, Lisa, Shannon Doherty, King Charles. Do I hear King Charles? I don't know if it's a rumor, but I hear that he's close to death. Princess Kate. I hope he's not close to death. Shannon. Please help them all, give them mental, physical strength to fight off the diseases, as well as Celine Dion, who has stiff person syndrome. Give her physical, mental, and physical strength to fight off her disease. Christina and Jenny, look out for their medical needs and mental needs, and as well as Tiffany's son, find a home. And give Robin Taylor's 2 grandsons who mother, give them physical and mental strength to get through what they're going through, as well as other people that's related to her and knew her in life, and everybody, even Robin, you know. Miss Diane and daughters, help Miss Diane make the transition into eternal rest. And help her daughters get through that. Arnie, Vicky and family, Carol and mom, please help them. In the name of Jesus, in Jesus' name, amen. Lay down, baby. Oh, I know what you want. Come here. No. Oh, I still have more to do here. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know I had more. And more of the gnats on the chest. I guess I didn't finish yesterday. That's why she took off. See, I was trying to get these 2 pictures, that's it, but I got Gideon in them. I can always fix it later, I think. See, I usually do that first thing before I do that. Add that. Oh man, I just forgot. I guess I don't. I thought I put it in, but so what? Gideon and his 300 men. I was on time, but we'll make the little guy read everything.
Gideon and his 300 men. Do you see what is happening here? These are all fighting men of Israel. The men bending down are taking a drink. Judge Gideon is the man standing close to them. He's watching how they drink the water. Look closely at the different ways in which the men are drinking. Some are putting their face right down to the water. But one is taking the water up in his hands so that he can watch what is going on around him. This is important, for Jehovah told Gideon to choose only the men who keep watching while they drink. The rest, God said, should be sent home. Let's see why. The Israelites are in a lot of trouble again. The reason is that they have not obeyed Jehovah. The people of Midian have gained power over them and are hurting them. So the Israelites cry to Jehovah for help, and Jehovah listens to their cries. Jehovah tells Gideon to get an army. So Gideon gathers together 32,000 fighting men. But there's an army of 135,000 men against Israel. And yet Jehovah tells Gideon, "You have too many men." Why did Jehovah say that? It is because if Israel won the war, they might think that they won by themselves. They might think that they didn't need Jehovah's help to win. So Jehovah says to Gideon, "Tell all the men who are afraid to go back home." When Gideon does this, 22,000 of his fighting men go home. That leaves him only 10,000 men to fight against all those 135,000 soldiers. Jehovah says, "You still have too many men." So he tells Gideon to have the men drink at this stream and then to send home all the people who put their face down to the water to drink. "I will give you the victory with the 300 men who kept watching while they drank," Jehovah says. The time comes for the fight. Gideon puts his 300 men in 3 groups. He gives to each man a horn and a jar with a torch inside it. When it is about midnight, they all gather round the camp of the enemy soldiers. Then at the same time, they all blow their horns and break their jars and shout, "Jehovah's sword and Gideon's." When the enemy soldiers wake up, they're confused and afraid. They all begin to run, and the Israelites win the battle. Story number 50.
No. So now we have to listen to Judges chapter 6 through 8. No, I'm not going to fall asleep during this. Who said that? What did I do? Oh.
Chapter 6. But the Israelites again did what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah. So Jehovah gave them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. The hand of Midian dominated over Israel. Because of Midian, the Israelites made hiding places for themselves in the mountains, in the caves, and in the places difficult to approach. If Israel sowed seed, Midian and Amalek and the Easterners would attack them. They would camp against them and ruin the produce of the land all the way to Gaza, and they left nothing for Israel to eat, and no sheep or bull or donkey. For they would come up with their livestock and tents as numerous as the Lord. Their camels could not be numbered. and they would come into the land to destroy it. So Israel became greatly impoverished on account of Midian, and the Israelites called to Jehovah for help. When the Israelites called to Jehovah for help because of Midian, Jehovah sent to the Israelites a prophet who said to them,
"This is what Jehovah, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up from Egypt, and thus brought you out of the house of slavery. So I rescued you from the hand of Egypt, and from all your oppressors, and drove them out from before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am Jehovah your God. You must not fear the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are dwelling. But you did not obey me."
Later, Jehovah's angel came and sat under the big tree that was in Ophrah, which belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. His son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress in order to hide it from Midian. Jehovah's angel appeared to him and said,
"Jehovah is with you, you mighty warrior."
At this, Gideon said to him,
"Pardon me, my lord, but if Jehovah is with us, why has all of this come upon us? Where are all his wonderful acts that our fathers related to us, saying, 'Did Jehovah not bring us up out of Egypt?' Now Jehovah has deserted us and given us into Midian's hand."
Jehovah faced him and said,
"Go with the strength you have, and you will save Israel out of Midian's hand. Is it not I who send you?"
Gideon answered him,
"Pardon me, Jehovah. How can I save Israel? Look, my clan is the least in Manasseh, and I am the most insignificant in my father's house."
But Jehovah said to him,
"Because I will be with you, you will strike down Midian as if they were one man."
Then he said to him,
"If now I have found favor in your eyes, show me a sign that you are the one speaking with me. Please do not depart from here until I return with my gift and set it before you."
So he said,
"I will stay here until you return."
And Gideon went in and prepared a young goat and made unleavened bread from an ephah of flour. He put the meat in the basket and the broth in the cooking pot. Then he brought them out to him and served them under the big tree. The angel of the true God now said to him,
"Take the meat and the unleavened bread and place them on the big rock there, and pour out the broth."
And he did so. Then Jehovah's angel stretched out the tip of the staff that was in his hand and touched the meat and the unleavened bread, and fire flared up from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened bread. Jehovah's angel then vanished from his sight. Gideon now realized that it was Jehovah's angel. At once Gideon said,
"Alas, sovereign Lord Jehovah, I've seen Jehovah's angel face to face."
But Jehovah said to him,
"Peace be with you. Have no fear. You will not die."
So Gideon built an altar there to Jehovah, and it is called Jehovah Shalem down to this day. It is still in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. That night Jehovah said to him,
"Take the young bull that belongs to your father, the second young bull that is 7 years old, and tear down the altar of Baal that belongs to your father, the sacred pole next to it. After you build an altar to Jehovah your God on top of this stronghold with the row of stones, take the second young bull and offer it as a burnt offering on the pieces of wood from the sacred pole that you cut down."
So Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did just as Jehovah told him. But he feared the household of his father and the men of the city too much to do it by day, so he did it at night. When the men of the city got up early the next morning, they saw that the altar of Baal had been pulled down, and the sacred pole beside it had been cut down, and the second young bull had been offered up on the altar that had been built. They asked one another,
"Who did this?"
After they investigated, they said,
"Gideon, the son of Joash, did this."
So the men of the city said to Joash,
"Bring your son out that he may die,
because he pulled down the altar of Baal and cut down the sacred pole next to it.
Joash then said to all those who confronted him,
Do you have to defend Baal? Do you have to save him? Whoever defends him should be put to death this morning. If he is a god, let him defend himself, since someone pulled down his altar.
And he called Gideon Jerubbaal on that day, saying,
Let Baal defend himself, for someone has pulled down his altar.
All Midian and Amalek and the Easterners joined forces, and they crossed over into the valley of Jezreel and camped. Then Jehovah's Spirit came upon Gideon, and he sounded the horn, and the Abiezrites rallied behind him. He sent out messengers through all of Manasseh, and they too rallied behind him. He also sent out messengers through Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, and they came up to meet him. Then Gideon said to the true God,
If you are saving Israel by means of me, just as you have promised, here I am laying a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece only, but all the ground around it is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by means of me, just as you have promised.
And that is how it happened. When he rose up early the next day and wrung the fleece, he squeezed off enough dew from the fleece to fill a large banquet bowl with water. However, Gideon said to the true God,
Do not let your anger burn against me, but let me ask just once more. Let me please make just one more test with the fleece. Please let the fleece alone be dry, while there is dew all over the ground.
So that is what God did that night. Only the fleece was dry, and there was dew all over the ground. Chapter 7. Then Jerubbaal, that Gideon, and all the people with him rose early and encamped at the spring of Harod, while the camp of Midian was north of him at the hill of Moreh in the valley plain. Jehovah now said to Gideon, There are too many people with you for me to give Midian into their hand. Otherwise, Israel might brag about itself against me and say, My own hand saved me. Now please, announce in the presence of the people, Whoever is afraid and trembling, let him return home. So Gideon put them to the test. With that, 22,000 of the people returned home, and 10,000 remained. Still, Jehovah said to Gideon, There are yet too many people. Have them go down to the water, so that I may test them for you there. When I say to you, This one will go with you, he will go with you. When I say to you, This one will not go along with you, he will not go along. So he took the people down to the water. Then Jehovah said to Gideon, Separate everyone who laps up the water with his tongue, just as a dog laps, from those who bend down on their knees to drink. The number of those lapping up the water, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. The rest of the people bent down on their knees to drink. Jehovah now said to Gideon, I will save you with the 300 men who lapped the water, and I will give Midian into your hand. But let all the other people go back home. So after they took the provisions and the horn from the people, he sent all the other men of Israel back home, and he kept only the 300 men. The camp of Midian was below him in the valley plain.
Sorry.
During that night, Jehovah said to him, Get up, attack the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with Purah, your attendant. Listen to what they say, and afterward you will have the troops to attack the camp. At that, he and Purah, his attendant, went down to the edge of the encamped army. Now Midian and Amalek and all the Easterners covered the valley plain like a swarm of locusts, and their camels were without number, as many as the grains of sand on the seashore. Gideon now came, and there was a man relating a dream to his companion. And he said,
This is the dream I had. There was a round loaf of barley bread rolling into the camp of Midian. It came to a tent and struck it so hard that it collapsed. Yes, it turned the tent upside down, and the tent fell flat.
At this his companion said,
This can only be the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. God has given Midian and all the camp into his hand.
As soon as Gideon heard him relate the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down to worship. After that he returned to the camp of Israel and said,
Get up, for Jehovah has given the camp of Midian into your hand.
Then he divided the 300 men into 3 bands, and gave all of them horns and large empty jars with torches inside the jars. Then he said to them,
Watch me and do exactly what I do. When I come to the edge of the camp, you should do just as I do. When I blow the horn, I and all who are with me, you also must blow the horns all around the camp and shout for Jehovah and for Gideon.
Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the edge of the camp at the start of the middle night watch, just after the sentries were posted. They blew the horns and smashed the large water jars that were in their hands. So the 3 bands blew the horns and shattered the large jars. They held the torches in their left hands and blew the horns in their right hands. And they called out,
The sword of Jehovah and of Gideon.
All the while each man stood in his place all around the camp, and the whole army ran away, shouting as they fled. The 300 continued to blow the horns, and Jehovah turned the sword of each one against the other throughout the camp. And the army fled as far as Beth-shittah on to Zererah, as far as the outskirts of Abel-Maholah by Tabith. And the men of Israel were called together from Naphtali, Asher, and all of Manasseh, and they chased after Midian. Gideon sent messengers into all the mountainous region of Ephraim, saying,
Go down to attack Midian and capture the access to the waters as far as Beth-barah and the Jordan.
So all the men of Ephraim were gathered together, and they captured the waters as far as Beth-barah and the Jordan. They also captured the 2 princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeeb. They killed Oreb on the rock of Oreb, and they killed Zeeb at the winepress of Zeeb. They kept on pursuing Midian, and they brought the heads of Oreb and Zeeb to Gideon in the region of the Jordan.
One more, and then we can move on to the next chapter.
And the men of
Story.
Ephraim said to him, What have you done to us?
Why did you not call us when you went to fight against Midian?
And they quarreled bitterly with him. But he said to them,
What have I done compared with you? Are not the gleanings of Ephraim better than the grape harvest of Abiezer? It was into your hand that princes Oreb and Zeeb, and what have I done compared with you?
When he spoke this way, they calmed down. Gideon then came to the Jordan and crossed it. He and the 300 men with him were tired, but they kept up the pursuit. So he said to the men of Succoth,
Please give loaves of bread to the people following me, for they are tired, and I am chasing after Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian.
But the princes of Succoth said,
Are the palms of Zebah and Zalmunna already in your hand, so that we should give bread to your army?
At this, Gideon said,
Just for that, when Jehovah gives Zebah and Zalmunna into my hand, I will give you a thrashing with the thorns and the briars of the wilderness.
And he went up from there to Penuel and made the same request. But the men of Penuel gave him the same answer as the men of Succoth. So he said also to the men of Penuel,
When I return in peace, I will pull down this tower.
Now Zebah were in Karkor with their armies, about 15,000 men. These were all who remained of the entire army of the Easterners, for 120,000 men armed with swords had fallen. Gideon continued up by the way of the tent dwellers east of Nobah and Jogbehah and attacked the camp, which was off guard. When Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued and captured the two Midianite kings, Zebah and Zalmunna, throwing the whole camp into a panic. Gideon, the son of Joash, then returned from the war by way of the pass that goes up to Heres. En route, he captured and interrogated a young man from Succoth. So the young man wrote out for him the names of the princes and elders of Succoth, 77 men. With that, he went to the men of Succoth and said,
Here are Zebah and Zalmunna, about whom you taunted me, saying, Are the palms of Zebah and Zalmunna already in your hand, so that we should give bread to your exhausted men?
Then he took the elders of the city, and with thorns and briars of the wilderness, he taught the men of Succoth a lesson. And he pulled down the tower of Penuel, and killed the men of the city. He asked Zebah and Zalmunna,
What sort of men did you kill in Tabor?
To this they said,
They were like you. Each one looked like the son of a king.
At that he said,
They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As surely as Jehovah lives, if you had spared their lives, I would not have to kill you.
Then he said to Jephthah, his firstborn,
Get up, kill them.
But the young man did not draw his sword. He was afraid, for he was still a young man. So Zebah and Zalmunna said,
Get up yourself and slay us, for a man is judged by his mightiness.
So Gideon got up and killed Zebah and Zalmunna, and took the crescent-shaped ornaments that were on the necks of their camels. Later the men of Israel said to Gideon,
Rule over us, you and your son and your grandson as well, for you saved us out of the hand of Midian.
But Gideon said to them,
I will not rule over you,
It's
nor
right there,
will
go
my
get it.
son rule over you. Jehovah is the one who will rule over you.
Gideon continued,
Let me make one request of you, that each of you give me a nose ring from his spoil.
for they had gold nose rings because they were Ishmaelites. They replied,
We will surely give them.
With that, they spread out a robe, and each man threw a nose ring from his spoil on it. The weight of the gold nose rings that he had requested amounted to 1,700 gold shekels, besides the crescent-shaped ornaments, the pendants, the purple wool garments worn by the kings of Midian, and the necklaces from the camels. Gideon made it into an ephod and exhibited it in his city, Ophrah. And all Israel committed spiritual prostitution with it there, and it served as a snare to Gideon and to his household. Thus Midian was subdued before the Israelites, and they did not challenge them again. And the land had rest for 40 years in the days of Gideon. So Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, returned to his home and stayed there. Gideon became father to 70 sons, for he had many wives.
70.
His concubine in Shechem also bore him a son, and he named him Abimelech.
Abimelech.
And Gideon, the son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of Joash his father, in Ophrah of the Abiezrites.
70 sons.
As soon as Gideon died, the Israelites again committed spiritual prostitution with the Baals, and they appointed Baal-Berith as their god. The Israelites did not remember Jehovah their God, who had rescued them from the hand of all their enemies around them, nor did they show loyal love toward the household of Jerubbaal, that is, Gideon, in return for all the good that he had done for Israel.
Wow. I'm just in awe. Oh my, what, 70 sons? That doesn't mean that that's all the kids he had. No. He could have had a few daughters there. Oh, let's listen to Jephthah's promise.
Story number 53, Jephthah's promise. Have you ever made a promise and later found it hard to keep?
Yes.
The man in this picture did, and that is why he is so sad. The man is a brave judge of Israel named Jephthah. Jephthah lives at a time when the Israelites are no longer worshiping Jehovah. They are again doing what is bad. So Jehovah lets the people of Ammon hurt them. This makes the Israelites cry out to Jehovah, "We have sinned against you. Please save us." The people are sorry for the bad things that they have done. They show that they are sorry by worshiping Jehovah again. And so, again, Jehovah helps them. Jephthah is chosen by the people to fight against the bad Ammonites. Jephthah wants very much for Jehovah to help him in the fight. So he promises Jehovah, "If you will give me victory over the Ammonites, the first person that comes out of my house to meet me when I return from the victory, I will give to you." Jehovah listens to Jephthah's promise, and he helps him to win the victory. When Jephthah returns home, do you know who the first one is to come out to meet him? It is his daughter, who is his only child. "Oh, my daughter," Jephthah cries, "what sadness you are bringing me. But I have made a promise to Jehovah, and I cannot take it back." When Jephthah hears about his promise, at first she is sad too, for it means that she will have to leave her father and friends. But she will spend the rest of her life serving Jehovah at his tabernacle in Shiloh. So she tells her father, "If you have made a promise to Jehovah, you must keep it."
Oh no.
So Jephthah's daughter goes to Shiloh, and she spends the rest of her life serving Jehovah at his tabernacle. 4 days out of every year, the women of Israel go to visit her there, and they have a happy time together. The people love Jephthah's daughter because she is such a good servant of Jehovah.
Wow. I thought it was someone else. There's another
Story
story
number 54.
of someone else that a father made a promise if the daughter does something or whatever, he'll kill her. And she did it, what he said, and he had to kill her because it was a promise he made. All right, now we're going to go to read Judges chapter 10, 6 through 18, and then 1 through 40. I'm predicting that's the whole chapter, but we'll check it out.
Again, the Israelites did what was bad in the eyes of Jehovah. Baals, the Ashtoreth images, the gods of Aram, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the Ammonites, and the gods of the Philistines. They abandoned Jehovah and did not serve him. Then Jehovah's anger blazed against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and the Ammonites. So they crushed and greatly oppressed the Israelites in that year. For 18 years they oppressed all the Israelites on the side of the Jordan that had been the land of the Amorites in Gilead. The Ammonites would also cross the Jordan to fight against Judah and Benjamin and the house of Ephraim, and Israel was greatly distressed. Then the Israelites called to Jehovah for help, saying, "We have sinned against you.
for we abandoned our God and served the Baals.
But Jehovah said to the Israelites, Did I not save you from Egypt and from the Amorites, the Philistines, the Sidonians, Amalek, and Midian when they oppressed you? When you cried out to me, I saved you out of their hand. But you abandoned me and served other gods. That is why I will not save you again. Go to the gods whom you have chosen and call for help. Let them save you in your time of distress. But the Israelites said to Jehovah,
We have sinned. Do to us whatever is good in your eyes. Only save us, please, this day.
And they removed the foreign gods from their midst and served Jehovah, so that he could no longer tolerate Israel's suffering. In time the Ammonites were called together, and they pitched camp in Gilead. So the Israelites gathered together and pitched camp in Mizpah. The people and the princes of Gilead said to one another,
Who will take the lead in fighting against the Ammonites? Let him become the chief over all the inhabitants of Gilead.
Okay. That was the rest of the chapter as well. And now we go to Judges chapter 11, 1 through 40. I bet you. Yep, it's a whole chapter. Why don't they just say that?
Chapter 11. Now the Gileadite was a mighty warrior. He was the son of a prostitute, and Gilead was Jephthah's father. But Gilead's wife also bore him sons. When the sons of his wife grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him,
You will have no inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman.
So Jephthah fled from his brothers and settled in the land of Tob. And idle men joined company with Jephthah, and they followed him. After a while, the Ammonites fought against Israel. And when the Ammonites fought against Israel, the elders of Gilead immediately went to bring Jephthah back from the land of Tob. They said to Jephthah,
Come and serve as our commander, so that we can fight against the Ammonites.
But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead,
Was it not you who hated me so much that you drove me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in distress?
At this the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah,
That is why now we have returned to you. If you go with us and fight against the Ammonites, you will become our leader over all the inhabitants of Gilead.
So Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead,
If you bring me back to fight against the Ammonites and Jehovah defeats them for me, then I will indeed become your leader.
The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah,
Let Jehovah be the witness between us if we do not do as you say.
So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him their leader and commander. And Jephthah repeated all his words before Jehovah in Mizpah. Jephthah then sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites, saying,
What do you have against me that you have come to attack my land?
So the king of the Ammonites said to the messengers of Jephthah,
It is because Israel took my land when they came up out of Egypt, from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and as far as the Jordan. Now return it peaceably.
But Jephthah sent messengers back to the king of the Ammonites to say to him,
This is what Jephthah says. Israel did not take the land of the Moabites and the land of the Ammonites. For when they came up out of Egypt, Israel walked through the wilderness as far as the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, Please let us pass through your land. But the king of Edom did not listen. Also to the king of Moab they sent word, but he did not consent. So Israel kept dwelling in Kadesh. When they walked through the wilderness, they bypassed the land of Edom and the land of Moab. They traveled east of the land of Moab and camped in the region of the Arnon. They did not come within the boundary of Moab, for the Arnon was the boundary of Moab. After that, Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, king of Heshbon. And Israel said to him, "Please, let us pass through your land to our own place." But Sihon did not trust Israel to cross through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped in Jahaz and fought against Israel. At this, Jehovah, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and all his people into Israel's hand, so that they defeated them. And Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that land. Thus, they took possession of all the territory of the Amorites, from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. It was Jehovah, the God of Israel, who drove out the Amorites from before his people Israel. And now, would you drive them out? Do you not possess whatever your God Chemosh gives you to possess? So everyone whom Jehovah our God has driven out from before us is the one we will drive out. Now, are you any better than Balak, the son of Zippor, the king of Moab? Did he ever contend with Israel, or did he ever fight against them? While Israel was dwelling in Heshbon and its dependent towns, and in Aroer and its dependent towns, and in all the cities that are by the banks of the Arnon for 300 years, why did you never try to take them back during that time? I have not sinned against you, but you are wrong to attack me. Let Jehovah, the judge, be judged today between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon.
But the king of the Ammonites would not listen to the message that Jephthah sent to him. Jehovah's spirit came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh to go to Mizpah of Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead he continued on to the Ammonites. Then Jephthah made a vow to Jehovah and said,
"If you give the Ammonites into my hand, then whoever comes out of the door of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the Ammonites will become Jehovah's, and I will offer that one up as a burnt offering."
So Jephthah went to fight against the Ammonites, and Jehovah gave them into his hand. He struck them down with a very great slaughter, from Aroer all the way to Minnith, 20 cities, and as far as Abel-Keramim. Thus the Ammonites were subdued before the Israelites. Finally, Jephthah came to his home in Mizpah. And look, his daughter was coming out to meet him, playing the tambourine and dancing. Now she was his one and only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he ripped his garments and said,
"Oh no, my daughter, you have broken my heart, for you have become the one I have banished. Now I have opened my mouth to Jehovah, and I am unable to turn back."
But she said to him,
"My father, if you have opened your mouth to Jehovah, do to me as you have promised, since Jehovah has executed vengeance for you upon your enemies, the Ammonites."
She then said to her father,
"Let this be done for me. Let me be alone for 2 months, and let me go away into the mountains, and let me weep over my virginity with my female companions."
This is the
At
girl.
this he said,
"Go."
So he
This is the girl. I mentioned it earlier when she did something happened, and then he promised to kill her or something. Let's see if I'm right, because I'm almost positive this is it.
sent her away for 2 months, and she went to the mountains with her companions to weep over her virginity. At the end of 2 months, she returned to her father, after which he carried out the vow he had made regarding her. She never had relations with a man, and it became a custom in Israel. From year to year, the young women of Israel would go to give commendation to the daughter.
No. No. Oh my gosh.
And crossed over to Zaphon.
Seriously, people, when you are going to, don't even bother sending a message when I am live, because I don't even know if this live stream is stalled, muted. Please be careful. I'm checking on my other, this is why I have multiple devices. Ivy, just lay down. You keep throwing your ball behind stuff. La 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 la. Oh, that's muted. La la la. Yeah, I can hear it. So I'm gonna read the last bit of it because I'm not sure if you heard it. Let me see if you did. Let's turn this up. Okay, the last bit of it. After this part, after you didn't hear it, but I'm going to start from the beginning of number 40. From year to year, the young women of Israel will go to give combination to the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in the year. And that's going to be it for today's devotions. Sorry for all the mishaps. And I'll try better, I promise. I'll try better, even if I have to be late. Just see if I have everything up. Because I don't like that thumbnail. I just want the pictures up. You know what I mean? So I love you guys. Love, don't judge. Peace out.